But another big question I like to ask, and I usually ask this thing at the end, but I feel like, now would be an appropriate time.
I feel like ending. I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, we're gonna end the podcast. No, I'm curious. What is and I know you're gonna have two different answers, but what does music mean to you guys?
Josh, why didn't you go first for that?
I wanted you to go first.
Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by me, Chris. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 384. I'm not going to talk too much because I really want to get into this episode. Today's episode is phenomenal. It's one of those moments where if I didn't have the audio, I swear it would have never happened. But I had the chance to I am all marbles right now. I had the chance to talk to Josh Radnor and Ben Lee of Radnor and Lee, and man, the amount of talent these two have, and just how excited I was to talk to them. And I could have gone into Josh's film history because, oh my gosh, I love all the things that he does, and Ben, his music. I decided to keep it on the new album, though. The new album is called Golden State, and it is available right now, and I recommend everybody go pick it up digitally, physically, vinylly, however you listen to music. Just pick it up and listen, for Christ's sakes. But you know what? I'm done chatting because we need to get in this episode, all right? So everybody sit back, relax, and Chris, don't cue the music. Josh and Ben, take it away. How is your guys' day going so far?
My day's going really, really well. I got up and practiced. My daughter's learning unicycle.
Oh.
So I practiced an hour of that at her, took her to school, and then went and played tennis, and then came back and got stoned, and then hung out at home a little bit and doing some interviews. It's great.
There we go.
Good day, Ben.
So far, so good. Oh, and I accompanied my wife to vote. Yeah, she was voting, so we did that too.
Ben can't vote because he's a felon.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I can tell by the unicycling.
Ben, I can ride a unicycle. I could give Goldie some tips.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that. Do you do that while you juggle?
I did when I was a kid. I mean, I was deep into the juggling.
We've got to incorporate that into the show.
Probably not.
Come on.
Thanks, Chris, for participating in our band meeting.
Yes. All right, yeah. Band meeting can start. First of all, I was really excited to chat with you guys, and now that I hear that, Josh, you can unicycle, and Ben, you're teaching your daughter how to unicycle, I'm already intimidated. I gotta admit.
Yeah.
Well,
there's no scarier talent than a unicycle.
It took me a long time just to ride a bike. Now you're minusing a wheel. No, that's not for me.
Yeah. Well, life is long.
That's true. That is true. But Josh, how is your day going so far?
It's good. I had breakfast with a friend. He came over. I showed him my new house. I was taking care of some just clerical stuff. I've been going through my set list and rehearsing. I'm doing a a little solo thing at Hotel Cafe tomorrow night. Radnor Lee, as I like to call it. And so I'm just going through my set list and getting everything ready for that. And then after this call, I'm going to go vote.
Nice. There we go.
Yeah.
Now, this is a loose show where we can chat about anything and everything and nothing at all. But I am curious. I like asking this question because it tells me everything about you guys. But again, no pressure, all right?
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
How much sleep do you guys need to function throughout the day?
I mean, that's not really a fair question because one of us has a kid and the other doesn't.
Right.
So, like,
and we're not going to tell you who's who.
When you become a parent, you give up. Like, the idea of enough sleep to function is it's like a totally foreign concept. I can't answer that really. I haven't had it for like 10 years, you know.
Well, how much sleep are you getting though? Like an hour?
Last night
or two?
I took an antihistamine, my first of the season. It's a big moment, and it had a decongestant in it, so I didn't sleep much last night. A lot of it's your attitude, isn't it? Like if you're feeling happy, you seem to manage on less sleep. Don't you find, Josh? Or what's your?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I can, but it's kind of chicken or egg because not enough sleep can put me in a really bad mood.
Right.
Although I find as I'm getting older, I simply can't sleep in. I mean, maybe it's nature's way of saying, yeah, you should have a kid by now. But I can't sleep, you know, even if the alarm's set for 7, I'll wake up at 6:15 or something. And I used to be a heroic, you know, late sleeper. I would sleep till 1 when I came home from college. You know, my parents would be like, you're sleeping your day away. And I was like, what's there to do in the morning? But now I actually really love the mornings. So I don't mind the shift. But, you know, I get a decent amount of sleep. I probably do get more sleep than Ben.
You get all the...
That's all that matters. It's a contest.
Yeah, you get all the sleep for the band.
Did you ever see?
Right.
Did you ever see in the last Judd Apatow stand-up special? He talks about how his relationship. Basically, every morning they have a competition over who slept less. It's very funny the way he describes each of their arguments for why they slept less. It's all about garnering sympathy.
Yes, yeah. If you can get that sympathy, man, that who needs sleep?
Yeah, exactly.
The more precious commodity.
See, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Josh, where I can go to sleep and set my alarm, but yeah, I'm waking up before. But I have a fear of being late for anything, so literally I'll wake up like I missed my alarm, but really I didn't, and then I'll just turn off my alarm before it even goes off because I'm a partier apparently. But yeah, that's how I like to do things. But another big question I like to ask, and I usually ask this at the end, but I feel like, you know, now would be an appropriate time.
I feel like ending. I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah, we're gonna end the podcast. No, I'm curious. What is and I know you're gonna have 2 different answers, but what does music mean to you guys?
Josh, why didn't you go first for that?
I wanted you to go first.
Okay, I'll go first. No.
You know, I don't know. To me, it's the most reliable kind of delivery system to the present moment for me, and it's the thing that emotionally opens me up the most. It's the thing that I just, you know, given a choice between any, you know, art or method of kind of entertainment or diversion, I'll almost always choose music first. And I used to be just kind of a super fan, and then now that I'm writing songs, it's like being able to write the songs you want to hear. It's just a real thrill for me. So I don't know. I guess it's just my favorite thing, music.
Yeah. It's funny because it's been part of my life for so long that it's been many things to me. It's been a lover. It's been an enemy. It's been like a mafia. Like it's been like, you know, when you hear about like the Mossad tailing people. It's been like that. It's been a comfort. It's been communication. It's been how I met every girlfriend or my wife. You know, it was all through music. So I don't know what it is. I just know like what it's done, I guess. You know, I mean, that's sort of how invisible things are. Like, you can't really see them. You can just see the effect they have on things.
And Josh, you mentioned writing music, and Ben, you know, you mentioned you've been doing this, you know, for forever, pretty much. When you guys first started getting together and writing music together, how has that evolved from then to today?
I know some of it's still the same. Like we sit on my couch and we write songs together. But the difference, I would say, is I'm now playing guitar, and our whole attitude about the project has shifted in massive ways. I think initially it was kind of this lark, like almost like a dare to ourselves. Like we wrote a song, and then we wrote another song, and then Ben's like, let's make a record. And then we started performing, and people started showing up and really loving the music. And then we got offers to tour, you know, South America and Australia, and then the crowds got bigger, and it just started, our idea of what the whole thing could be started to expand quite rapidly, and that really changed the music. That's on our second album. And me playing guitar obviously changed things, allowing Ben to do a lot more interesting stuff musically while I was sort of out in the rhythm. So, yeah, I mean, it's become less of a weird kind of side quirky thing and more something that's like a central part of both of our creative lives. Mm-hmm. And the music kind of reflects that. I think the second album is just like such a step forward, like musically and just musically, lyrically, all of it. It just feels like we're maturing as a band in the same way that like our friendship's maturing, and all that's reflected in the music.
I would also say, it's been a process of discovering what it wants to be. Mm-hmm. I remember when we really named the band Radnor and Lee, it was almost like the feel of that. It had this like classic 70s masculine but sensitive journeyman type name for a band, you know? And it was almost like we heard it and we just knew it sounded right, but we've almost like had to lean into the vision of what our name is. Like our name stated with a certain type of swagger, a swagger that we didn't yet have.
Yeah.
And we've become Radnor and Lee. So it's funny with life because like you have to kind of discover things by following clues, and you have to become it. And I find with most of my albums, they announce to me what the next chapter of my life will be about. Okay. Before I've intellectually processed that idea.
That is fascinating. I always wonder about people doing albums, and I'll ask people, you know, what did you want to say with this album? And it's just I write music. Like, oh, okay, but no, that makes total sense.
Well, I think part of the reason it's hard to answer is that it's hard to answer, and you don't have to know. Also, there are sometimes you do know, and sometimes you like have a point to make, and other times you simply are expressing who you are. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like a flower giving off a smell. Like, what's it trying to say with that particular smell? I don't know. It's hard to use language to describe the purpose of that. It's just something beautiful that happens. It's natural.
And you mentioned that the band is maturing and becoming more of a stable. I don't know if stable's the right word, but a thing now. Do you find it creeping its way into your acting world, Josh, in any of the characters that you're playing, or help you motivate your acting in some way?
I do a lot of different things, and they're all kind of compartmentalized, even though they're all kind of one thing, which is like me telling stories in a bunch of different mediums. I think that I just played this character on Hunters for the last 6 months last year, and it was like this bold, weird, super interesting character. And I sometimes find when I play characters that are, there's obviously a seed of me in them, or I wouldn't have gotten the role to begin with.
Yeah.
But when I was at NYU, our acting teacher, Ron Van Loo, used to say, you're here to expand your definition of yourself, and really get that there are worlds in you that are untapped and that can be drawn upon. And I kind of feel that way about both acting and music. And I mean, one of the most exciting things about playing with Ben and learning how to be a songwriter and a guitar player is that I didn't know I had this in me, but I did all along. I must have all along. So I'm expanding my definition of myself. I'm continuing to expand my definition of myself, both in acting and music. And there's something really just exciting about that discovery, that there's more to you than you thought there was. And there's also a kind of courage that I find that's required to just stand in front of people, to play guitar in front of people, to sing vulnerably in front of people. It requires a lot of courage, and that can't help. One is helping the other. Any courage I find in acting will serve me as a musician, and vice versa.
Okay. And Ben, again, you mentioned you've been doing this forever. Have you found that, sometimes, or that music has led you down a different sort of creative path? Maybe because you need to recharge your batteries, your music batteries, or something like that.
You mean aside from music?
Yeah. I know you've done acting.
Yeah, I mean, I've done different things, and sometimes, I mean, all in all, I see that the journey of kind of becoming an artist has been a many-layered unfolding for me, and it's required a recommitting to it many times over. As far as music, I mean, like I've sort of, most of the projects I've done have more been different roles in music, like whether it's producing other people's records or co-writing or, at the moment we're developing a film of this musical I wrote, but it's all kind of connected to my music. So I don't really have, I don't think, I mean, it's hard to say, but I don't think I have aspirations of things to do outside of music. I just want, I would like the variety of experiences around music to stay very diverse. And that for me is good.
Gotcha. Okay. I would like to go back to writing music because I'm always fascinated with individuals who have written music, for a while. Is there something that you wrote early on in your writing stages that you read recently and it was just like, I don't know who the hell these guys were, but this is no.
I mean, like everything. I just think that's like, I don't know. I view there would be no moving forward to make more things if I thought I'd already perfected something.
Right.
It's just a journey of dissatisfaction. I think that's the journey. So, I can't say. I mean, there are some things I think that were more successful than others in terms of how close they got to capturing a vision. But honestly, the most satisfying musical experiences have never really been captured to me because they're not capturable. They're things that happen in a room between people playing music together, and you're trying to approximate that. It's like, how Godard said a film is 24 frames a second of live.
Right.
That's sort of what recordings are, I think. It's like you're trying to create the illusion of the way it feels to actually be in a space and music happen to you. But it's all varying degrees of failure at that attempt, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a little we're so mercurial as humans in terms of our moods, and
Yeah.
I know that I can get very fatalistic about, if I'm depressed, I'll be like, this is it, depression for the rest of my life. This is how I'm going to feel forever.
Yeah.
And even if I'm in a good mood, I'm like, I've figured it out. I've cracked life. I will never leave this emotional state ever.
Yeah.
And, you make a record, and it's kind of a documentary of what was going on emotionally, thematically, in your life at that time. And not even a literal kind of autobiographical thing, but just like, this is how it felt to be alive in this moment making music. And obviously, you make a record a year or 2, 3, 4 years later, it's going to feel different to be alive. The difference is, I think, is that your aliveness in the moment that you're currently feeling it feels more real and urgent than your aliveness 4 years ago. So when people tell me, oh, I listened to your first album, I want to say, like, no, wait, listen to Golden State. It's much more what we're about right now, Not to fritter away that first album. We needed it to make Golden State. We needed it to launch us into this world of making music together, but at the same time, it just doesn't. This new album just feels much more fresh and vital for where we're at right now, and I think that's as it should be.
I'm a huge believer in living in the moment. So what you guys are saying is, I super appreciate that. And you did mention the album Golden State. I'm curious, was there one song on the album that took a little bit more time to figure out whether the lyrics or the music just wasn't gelling together?
Oh my God, yeah.
Two actually. You described something exactly.
Down in the dirt, man. That song.
And Give Me Your Mess.
And Give Me Your Mess. I mean, it's very simple. It's like I was saying about the name Radnor and Lee. Like, we've had to learn what the name represents.
Yeah.
And there's an element of experimentation, and you have to see, you're trying to figure out, it's almost like you're feeding something, like a baby or an animal, and you're trying to see what it likes and what it doesn't like. And so you try feeding it a lot of different things, and then you start discovering what its taste is. And both those two songs were, in retrospect, it's easy to understand, we were feeding them ingredients that are probably not part of what Radnor and Lee is, but we didn't realize that yet. And for some reason, they were causing a lot of conflicts, like both between me and Josh, and also with Justin. Like, they weren't feeling like we didn't feel happy working on them, And then it's like we had a little time away and we rethought them. And we kind of began to bring them closer to the language of what we'd done with the other 9 songs or whatever it is. And suddenly they were happy kids again, Yeah,
it's nice. It's nice when you have 3 people that are working on something, and you can trust that when all 3 of you are like, that's it, then that's it,
Yeah.
And I liked the earlier versions in a way, but they did. I could understand what Ben was saying after a while. They felt like outliers, or like these kind of, like, we were deviating from some sort of thematic, road that we were on. And he said, I think this is the vibe of the record. Let's try to find the groove with these songs that make them part of that family. And then once we did, I was shooting Hunters in New York. We had a 6-month break, and we came back and reworked those tracks, and once we found them, they're now probably 2 of my favorite tracks on the record. So I'm so glad that we gave ourselves permission to go back and revisit those.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I love on the podcast, it's a good horror story. And
a lawyer story.
No, well, I don't know.
I have a couple of those.
Josh has a few of those.
Well, no, like a type of horror story. Do you have any gig horror stories?
I mean, so many. Yeah, I've had so many. It's funny, though, because some of the gigs you play over the years where there's, 2 people in the room. Mike Watt calls them character builders. They're important. some of the tougher gigs, for me, honestly, the toughest gigs have been high-pressure gigs where there was a lot riding on my performance, whether it was like South by Southwest or CMJ or doing Letterman, doing, some of these like high-pressure kind of things you where there's like important quote-unquote people in them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like I have a pretty like low batting average with those opportunities. Because I feel like I work best when I'm like relaxed and when I believe there's no stakes other than my own enjoyment of it.
Right.
That's when I'm best. So I've had a lot of, I kind of like, I would describe it as like they're like layups, where you're like at the net and you just got to take the shot and sink it and you just don't, you miss it. And it's sad, it's sad but true.
Ben and I were both really affected by. We really like that Grateful Dead documentary from Amazon, that like kind of six-part series, and and we really both we loved when Jerry Garcia, his whole guiding principle, he kept saying like, well, is it fun? Will it be fun when these opportunities would come to him? And we just liked that as a orienting our GPS towards that, because especially when you get to a certain age and it's like, you've paid a lot of dues and you've suffered through a lot of like less than ideal circumstances, and I think it's a valid question to ask. Like, will this be enjoyable?
No, I totally get that. That's, I don't know, it makes it feel like it's something that is for you, which is always like, if you're not going to do anything that's, for lack of a better word, fun, then why do it all?
Right.
True.
For the people at home who are, or for the people at home who'd like to keep up with anything that you guys are doing, pick up the album, where can they do all that?
Just, on their streaming services, and, they can follow us at Radnor Lee on everything. And
our individual handles, too. We each do a lot of Radnor Lee stuff on our individuals, just at Ben Lee, at Josh Radnor. Or Ben Lee Music, is that what
Ben
it
Lee
is?
Music,
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Ben, Josh, I really want to thank you for taking the time to sit down and chat with me. I listened to the album earlier today, and I absolutely loved it. I went out and pre-ordered it because I wanted that gold vinyl.
Nice.
But seriously, thank you guys so much. And anytime you want to chat more about unicycling or I don't know anything else, I would be happy to chat more with you guys about it.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Bye-bye.